64 with the sharp.
Good evening and welcome to the Coon Rapids City Council meeting for Tuesday, March 6th, 2018. If you could please rise and join us for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Custodiano.
Here.
Councilmember Kicker.
Here.
Councilmember Dennett. Here. Councilmember Geisler.
Here.
Councilmember Johnson.
Here.
Councilmember Wells.
Here.
Mayor Cook.
Here. Thank you. First item on our agenda this evening is to adopt this evening's agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Kicker, second by Demmer. All in, any discussion or changes? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And the agenda is adopted. No proclamations or presentations this evening. And we are up to approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. Nice.
Second.
Motion by Wells, second by Johnson to approve the minutes of the February 20th, 2018 meeting. Any discussion or corrections?
Mr. Mayor, I'm assuming that since we have a second version of our meeting minutes, that there were a number of corrections that were made.
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Geisler, that's correct. The spelling of Bromley was corrected. They had Brown in a couple of locations.
So close. All right. Hearing no more discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Abstain.
That motion carries, one abstention. Councilmember Griscoviac. We have several items on our consent agenda this evening. First of which is to approve the final payment for Project 16-1 street reconstruction. Let's see. We're making final payment to Park Construction Company in the amount of $212,000. Here we go, $212,290.21. The amounts, they are considered reasonable and accurate according to the project file. No liquidated damages are recommended. Staff is recommending approval of the change orders and the final payment to Park Construction Company in the amount, as mentioned, $212,290.21 for Project 16-1 street reconstruction. Next item on our consent agenda is to adopt Resolution 18-44, amending the budget for restaurant equipment. And we're looking at a purchase of a blast chiller at the golf course restaurant. The estimated cost to replace it will be roughly $19,000, which includes sales tax, and this item will be amortized over 5 years. The unit is needed at Kendall's to quickly chill large items of prepared foods in advanced preparation of banquets, as well as items made in large quantities to be served in the restaurant. At present, it can take too long to chill food. So because of capital outlay, purchases must specifically be identified and funded per city code. We're recommending the budget in the golf fund to be amended. We will be looking at amending the budget in the golf fund to purchase the blast chiller. Let's see. The funds were initially budgeted for a roll-in cooler, will be reprogrammed for a floor scrubber. I assume the blast chiller must be replacing the roll-in cooler, or just a whole different thing? Not even go there, huh? Ms. Legg, you want to?
One of the items we're substituting for a budgeted item.
Right.
But the blast chiller is unbudgeted, new, so we're asking for a budget amendment for it.
I guess I got that. I was just curious, so if we don't need that roll-in cooler, and then I hypothesized that maybe that blast chiller replaced the need for a roll-in
No,
cooler.
it didn't replace it. We moved that roll-in, whatever it was. Cooler out a few years. We'll see if we need it, so we kind of reprioritize things. Actually, Morrissey did, not we, but they are recommending it, so.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. So the amount of $10,000 that was included in the 2018 budget for the floors, for the roll-in cooler, will be spent on a floor scrubber, estimated to cost $8,400, which will allow for more thorough and efficient cleaning. So we will be authorizing Resolution 18-44, amending the 2018 golf budget for the purchase of a blast chiller. Next item on our agenda is to adopt Resolution 18-45, accepting the 2018 SCORE grant from Anoka County. Coon Rapids is entitled to receive reimbursement for eligible activities at our recycling center for up to $237,762.50. And the 2018 recycling budget was approved by the city and county during the 2018 budget cycle, with SCORE funds available to Coon Rapids in the amount of $227,792.50. So we will be adopting Resolution 18-45, approving the 2018 SCORE grant from Anoka County and authorizing execution of the funding agreement. Next item is to approve amended final payment for Project 16-3 Street Reconstruction, MSA North area. We are looking at approval of amended final payment to CS McCrossin Construction Company, or Construction Incorporated, in the amount of $1,694.76 for Project 16-3 Street Reconstruction. Next item is to approve the Anoka-Hennepin Drug Task Force Joint Powers Agreement, and it's just modifying the JPA to allowing, let's see, all right, let's just read it. The existing joint powers agreement has been in place since September of 2017. The joint powers agreement is amended when new language is introduced. In this case, the day-to-day operation of the task force occasionally requires the commander to make modest purchases up to $1,000. The new language allows for the task force to more quickly respond to the need to spend money rather than wait for the full advisory board to convene for approval. In addition, for larger purchases up to $5,000, the board agreed to empower the executive committee, which consists of the task force commander, the advisory board chair, and the advisory board vice chair. This was done to facilitate a more nimble organization. Of note, any purchases that fall under this new language will become part of the meeting minutes of the full advisory board. So this will be approving the 2018 Joint Powers Agreement to reflect the addition of Section 7 of the Joint Powers Agreement of the Anoka-Hennepin Narcotics and Violent Crimes Task Force, and authorizing the commander and the executive committee to approve purchases of $1,000 and $5,000 respectively. Item 7 is to approve final payment for Project 17-6, 2017 Sanitary Sewer Lining Program in Sichiform. I'm so glad we're done with this program because I won't have to say that anymore. In Sichiform Technologies. We're approving change orders and final payment to Insituform Technologies USA, LLC, in the amount of $37,214.19 for Project 17-6 Sanitary Sewer Lining Program. And the last item on our consent agenda is to adopt Resolution 18-49, accepting donations for Family Fun Day activities. On Sunday, February 11th, 2018, as part of the annual Snowflake Days celebration, a Family Fun Day was held at the Coon Rapids Ice Center. There were activities such as painting, skating on the indoor and outdoor ice, games, and more. As part of the activities, a hot chocolate bar and glow sticks for the Lights Out Glow Skate were provided. The hot chocolate bar and Lights Out Glow Skate were made possible by donations from Texas Roadhouse and Sport Clips of Coon Rapids. And we'll be adopting Resolution 18-49, accepting the donation for Family Fun Day activities. And I think that's the end of our consent agenda.
Your Honor,
Councilmember Demmer.
move to adopt the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Demmer, second by Kicker. Is there any discussion? Questions? I guess that's why they call it a consent agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And the consent agenda is adopted. Item 9 on this evening's agenda will be to hold an assessment hearing and consider levy assessments for miscellaneous 2018-1. Do we have the updated amount for this? Ms. Legg?
For the three resolutions, the 1 year is $21,914. The 3 year is $37,427, and the 5 year is $8,546. And this was as of about 4 o'clock today, so I don't know if there was any that came in after, but it's possible, and we will adjust if there were. Obviously, there's none tonight, so.
All right. So this amount reflects payments and adjustments that have been made since February 7th, when the assessment hearing date was set. We just received the updated amount. The process of hearing assessment appeals will include a hearing before the Board of Adjustment and Appeals before City Council adoption. The City Council still must open a public hearing as required by state statutes. However, at the hearing we opened this evening, the City Council will only collect written appeals and refer appellants to the Board of Adjustment and Appeals for their review and recommendation. After the public hearing has been closed, the City Council may adopt the assessments which have not been appealed. The Board of Adjustment and Appeals is expected to meet on April 5th and will make a recommendation to the City Council at the April 17th council meeting. And then, as a clarification on the 1, 3, and 5 year, the terms of repayment of these assessments are determined by the amount being assessed. The proposed assessments are categorized by the number of years to be assessed and the interest rate recommended. Amounts up to $1,000 will be payable in 1 year, amounts up to $5,000 will be 3 years, and amounts up to $10,000 will be 5 years. Is there any questions, or does anybody need any explanation before we open the, what I believe will be a brief assessment hearing? All right, well, with that then, we will open the assessment hearing to collect written appeals. And the assessment hearing is open for written appeals. Thank you, Mr. Antis, for not panning out to the room. And with that, we will close the assessment hearing for written appeals, right? So did we have any written appeals come in prior to our meeting that they will be considered on April 5th?
Mayor, Council, there were some appeals that were received, but the amounts I gave you were after
Okay.
those.
Right, got that. Perfect. All right. So council, looks like we're looking at adopting the 3, 1 year, 3 year, and 5 year. Mr. Brody, do you want these separately or together?
You can do them together.
Okay. Councilmember Kicker.
I make a motion that we adopt Resolution 18-41, adopting 2018 Sub-1 miscellaneous special assessments unopposed 1 year. Adopt Resolution 18-42, adopting 2018 Sub-1 miscellaneous special assessments unopposed 3 year. And adopt Resolution 18-43, adopting 2018 Sub-1 miscellaneous special assessments unopposed 5 year.
Second.
Motion by Kicker, second by Demmer. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. And now we are on to bid openings and contract awards. And item 10, we're looking at awarding the bid for water treatment chemicals. Bids were received from 3 different vendors and opened on February 20th, 2018 for water treatment chemicals. A 1-year contract is recommended with an option to renew for 2 additional 1-year periods. And we're looking at splitting the award of the chemical contract to the lowest bidders for each component. And I guess that's in the motion, so we'll just let whoever does the motion read them.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Geisler.
I'll make a motion to award the water treatment chemicals to Hawkins Incorporated for the 1-ton cylinders of chlorine, fluoride, and polyphosphate, and to DPC Industries Incorporated for the 150-pound cylinders of chlorine, sulfur dioxide, and orthophosphate.
Second.
That was a good one for you to read. That was nice, nice. Motion by Geisler, second by Wells. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. On to new business. Under item 11, consider planning case 18-1, consider resolution 18-40, approving the registered land survey to subdivide 5.51 acres into 3 tracts in Port Riverwalk. This is the 3rd registered land survey and includes property between Zilla Street, East River Road, and Coon Creek. The proposed registered land survey subdivides 5.51 acres and creates 3 tracts. This eliminates the title discrepancies and makes the transfer of property easier. The property will be platted into its final configuration as part of the redevelopment project. At the February 15th Planning Commission meeting, no one spoke at the public hearing. The commission voted unanimously to recommend approval of the proposed registered land survey.
Your Honor.
Councilmember Demmer?
In planning case 18-1, move the city council approve resolution 18-40, approving the proposed registered land survey with the condition that all comments of the Anoka County Highway Department be addressed.
Second.
Motion by Demmer, second by Kicker. Is there discussion?
I had a question about the map.
Councilmember Johnson?
So I'm looking at the map, and it's got the site on there, and I see 3 lots. I also see a 4th major lot. Is that what's the plan for that property, the bigger one?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Fernandez?
Johnson. So there is a 4th registered land survey that we need to go through.
Okay.
And so that will be part of a subsequent action that will be brought forward
Is that,
in the near future.
is it contemplated there'd be additional lots there, or that we'd keep that as, I don't know, parkland or?
Yeah, so the registered land survey that you're looking at or considering tonight would be part of a larger plat when the developer eventually comes forward with the plat for Port River Walk.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
And that small line that delineates inside of there, that actually follows the creek there, huh?
Yep.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. Item 12 is to consider planning case 18-2. Consider approval of the preliminary plat and resolution 18-39 granting final plat approval for Minnesota Park 3rd Edition. And this is looking at a preliminary and final plat to subdivide .72 acres into 2 lots and right-of-way. One lot will be for future development, the other will be combined with an abutting property. Which property, we don't know yet. Let's see, so Mr. Harlicker isn't here. Does anybody need a presentation on this, or would you want me to read the discussion points? This is we're looking to plat excess land that was left over when 101st Avenue was realigned and reconstructed. The property was originally platted as Lot 1, Block 2, Minnesota Park in 1950. The lot was acquired by the city in the 1980s for the reconstruction of 101st Avenue. And the total area being platted is 31,618 square feet, or .726 acres. The property is being platted into 2 lots and right-of-way for 101st Avenue. Lot 1 is a buildable lot located at the corner of 101st Avenue and Cottonwood Street, and it will be sold as a single-family home site. The lot complies with the dimensional requirements of the LDR2 zoning district. Lot 1 is 93 feet wide, 161 feet deep, and 14,159 square feet in area. Sanitary sewer and water will be provided to Lot 1 from Cottonwood Street. The second lot is an outlot. An outlot A is an unbuildable lot that will be combined with an adjacent parcel. The lot is wedge-shaped, 1,552 square feet in area, with frontage on 101st Avenue. It abuts Lot 1 and the neighboring twin home property to the east. The third component of the plat is right-of-way for 101st Avenue. The right-of-way is 15,907 square feet. The city has a verbal agreement with the abutting twin home owner to the east to purchase Outlot A and combine it with their property. Should that agreement not be finalized and executed within a reasonable time period, the city reserves the right to combine Outlot A with Lot 1. In that case, an existing fence on the adjacent property would need to be relocated, and that was one of the reasons why the plat was proposed in the first place. At the Planning Commission meeting held on February 15th, no one spoke at the public hearing. Staff explained to the commission that staff had discussions with the adjacent property owner regarding purchasing Outlot A. The commission voted unanimously to recommend approval of the proposed plat. And that only makes perfect sense for the abutting twin home to buy it, otherwise they've got to tear down a big section of their fence and lose a big section of what they're currently using as yard. Does anybody have any questions on this, or? Okay,
Your Honor.
Councilmember Johnson.
In planning case 18-2, I'd move approval of the preliminary plat and approval of resolution 18-39, granting final plat approval for Minnesota Park 3rd edition with the condition that Outlot A must be combined with one of the abutting properties.
Motion by Johnson, second by Griscoviac. Everybody's pointing. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, and that motion carries. Item 13 is to consider adopting the ADA transition plan. Here, I expected Mr. Hanson to be here with a PowerPoint presentation tonight and everything, but nothing, huh?
Mr. Hanson did such a wonderful job. The last meeting, I gave him the night off.
This is the most people I've seen anybody deal with at one time in quite a while. Mr. Himmer, do you want to hit the high points on this?
Mr. Mayor, I certainly can. Members of the council, this is an ADA transition plan that's been kind of outstanding for some time. There's been plenty of extensions over that period of time, but it's becoming known that future federal funding may be at risk with this. Regardless, we were already looking at this. We do it with every reconstruction, trail, park project. Primary areas that we're looking at are out in the built environment within the right-of-way, pedestrian ramps, traffic signals, bus stops, and just the slope and pitch of our trails and sidewalks. So we've done an exhaustive self-evaluation on this. We've identified long-term costs. Again, it's our approach to handle these with individual projects as time goes on. There may be a time that we look at a standalone project for certain of these improvements, but part of the issue is the standards change so quickly that, you know, we could do a 2005 reconstruction project. By the time we get to 2015, it's a whole different standard, and so trying to do too much in this case sometimes puts us at risk of having to do it repeatedly in a short period of time. So with that, I will certainly stand for any questions you may have.
Just a quick question. I know that this is obviously online as part of our packet. Is this online in engineering somewhere as a standalone link? If somebody was interested in reading this, is it on our website somewhere?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, it's currently under the engineering tab. So if people have concerns or have some certain requests, we look at reasonable accommodations we can provide for them between myself in the outside world and Joan is the coordinator for buildings and access to council meetings and things like that.
Okay, thank you. Council?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Johnson?
I'm only being halfway facetious when I address this, okay? But I'm assuming that mailboxes in the middle of sidewalks along Foley would not qualify under our ADA transition plan.
Councilmember Johnson, that was one of my concerns as well when those first came to light. It doesn't provide adequate clear zone. So we're working, as a matter of fact, I just sent a reminder earlier today to the county that construction season is coming along soon. We're looking at a few options for those areas, and I know they're having some conversations with those residents on what they would like to see compared to maybe what we'd like to see, and we'll reach some agreement and either get wider sidewalks or ganged mailboxes or some way to provide adequate ADA accessibility and allow us to maintain it at a better rate during the winter.
Great, thank you.
It's always so funny. It's so sad.
It's just a, yeah.
I just know the kids with that right height will just walk right into the back of those mailboxes.
Yep.
So, Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Geisler.
I'll make a motion to adopt the City of Coon Rapids Americans with Disabilities Act ADA Transition Plan as presented.
I'd like to second that.
Motion by Geisler, second by Johnson. Any discussion? Councilmember Demmer?
So, Mr. Himmer, one thing I was just trying to figure out as I was looking at the map, I mean, it looks like we've done a good job in the last couple of years based on where we've done repairs, you know, turning the ramps and curbs blue. How much of the red is things that were built to an accessibility standard at the time, and how much of it is they were built before there was an accessibility standard? Because I'm curious if we if the standards have just changed a lot on us and we're never going to catch up, or if we'll eventually get there.
Councilmember Demmer, I guess there would be a little of both to that answer. In certain instances, when we do, for example, Robinson Drive here south of City Hall, we did a lot of the connecting roads into Robinson Drive 5-6 years ago, but we didn't do Robinson Drive itself. And most of those corridors are along Robinson Drive. So those that were in really bad shape and cracked and busted, we replaced at that time. Those that were not, we left out, as that's a state aid route as well. So as we look at that corridor, those will be picked up. So sometimes it's an evaluation as we're there that, well, we know we're coming back in a couple of years for this side. If it's not a trip hazard or something of that nature, we'll let that go and pick it up at the next go around. But certainly with the way that standards change, 5 years from now, the ones we've done recently could be different. It used to be the exposed aggregate, now it's the raised dimples. You got the audio push buttons on traffic signals, so it's constantly evolving. Will we ever get caught up? I think so, but you just never know with how these standards change so frequently.
One of the reasons I was just asking is because we kind of have red for it doesn't meet and blue for it does meet, but I guess if something meets a standard that's only a couple years old but it doesn't meet the current standard, then it would be lower priority to fix than something that's really hard to get up. And so I was wondering if we sort of had grades for any of these, like if there's some that wouldn't have met the standards in the 60s that they get on a list to fix sooner than, say, the ones that met the standards of 5 years ago. And if there's any that we know are especially egregious and we should take care of it at a sooner date than others.
Yeah, Councilmember Demmer, that's exactly what we do.
Great.
If it's out of compliance for slope and location and the type of material, then those get elevated to a higher priority, and those would probably come along as a standalone, maybe under our sidewalk program or something different. But if it just went from exposed aggregate to a dimple, everything else is the same, then we would say at that time it met the intent. So absent any other deficiencies, that would be graded as a lower priority.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And we have adopted the ADA transition plan. Next item on our agenda is number 14, to consider resolution number 17-12 sub 9, awarding the contract for the 2018 park improvements and approve construction administration contracts and direct purchases. This would have been a great one to have a PowerPoint presentation of. Mr. Hemmer, you want to just hit the highlights, though?
Certainly, Mr. Mayor, there's lots to cover in here, same way we've done in the past. We've looked at opportunities for direct purchases, trying to keep some costs down. Partnering with Conexus Energy for some lighting. They then own and maintain, handle knockdowns, vandalism, and such. So we had $2.1 million for the budget on these parks. We're coming in slightly above that, about an $84,000 gap, but again, as stated in the memo, I believe that staff time put in on these projects will more than make up for that. We do have a little extra funds that I'm setting aside under miscellaneous improvements that are already budgeted as well. But the two alternates on this project is an overlay on the existing parking lot at Crooked Lake. We're expanding that. The other parking lot is in okay condition, but you certainly don't rehab the whole thing without improving that. So that alternate is there, as well as alternate B, which is the trail segment going north out of Riverwind up towards, up towards Morris Bay. So that will get a mill and overlay. We'll put accessibility gates on either end of that. So that would extend just beyond the park proper piece. Conexus Energy is only in Crooked Lake, so we have to do some of our own improvements at Riverwind. We will also be handling the lighting within some of those structures. And finally, we have direct purchase of playground equipment at both locations. And that one came in slightly higher after the selection, but that was because we added some rubberized surfacing and touchdown places for some ADA. So that wouldn't have affected the overall bids anyway. It was just a budgeted type scenario. So we have that as a direct purchase, and then we're looking at construction administration with WSB and Associates. And while I know I'm going to be under budget, I didn't want to start parsing this thing out. So they're gonna handle structural reviews for me, they're gonna handle some minor inspections for me, the rest of that I'll either do personally or my staff will do, and we'll keep those costs down. So I believe those are the high points. I'll certainly stand for any questions you may have, but there's a lot of information contained here within the attachments as well. But bids came in good, less than even I expected a little bit, so I'm very pleased with how the whole thing fit together, and I don't have to stand in front of you and have Mr. Bodley writing about 50% overruns and things of that nature.
All right. Council, any questions of Mr. Hammer, or?
Your Honor.
Yes, Councilmember
One question
Stachowiak.
for Mr. Himmer. Is the construction administrative contracts, is that typical of all large park projects like this? That we engage WSB for that kind of work?
Councilmember Stachowiak, 2 years ago, 2016 improvements, we had Kimley Horn on at that time. But yes, there are shop drawings, structural reviews on some of the items that we don't have the expertise for. They handle kind of a kickoff meeting to just kind of get things going, but the weekly site meetings I handle impromptu as available and as needed. But there are things within their material testing as well, getting them out there to do that. So there are items that are specific needs, and they're nice to have in case we don't have the time to do it. As opposed to, again, parsing that out, I thought we'd just look at the whole package and maintain that budget and stay under that budget.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Council? Councilmember Demmer.
It's okay to take them all?
A lot of reading if you want to do it all at once.
A lot more time if we do it one at a time. All right, move to adopt resolution 17-12 sub 9, awarding a contract to Custom Builders, Inc., including the base bid and alternates A and B in the amount of $1,697,716.55. Authorize staff to issue purchase orders for the direct purchase and installation of playground equipment by Northland Recreation in the amount of $149,404. Approve the outdoor lighting new construction quote and energy and maintenance agreement provided by Connexus Energy for Crooked Lake Park in the amount of $48,985.75, and to authorize staff to execute construction administration contracts / letters of engagement with WSB and Associates, Inc. in the amount of $67,866 for Crooked Lake Park and $62,612 for Riverwind Park.
Second.
Motion by Demmer, second by Geisler. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed? And that motion carries. Item 15, consider resolution 18-47, calling for a public hearing to vacate the water main easement. We're being asked to consider a resolution to set a public hearing on a water main easement vacation for Aldi, located at 3410 Northdale Boulevard, Coon Rapids, Minnesota. Aldi is proposing to expand and remodel the front entrance. As part of the remodel expansion project, a segment of their private water service line needs to be relocated further away from the expanded building area. This water service line currently exists within a 20-foot wide drainage and utility easement, and a new 20-foot wide drainage and utility easement must be reestablished over the relocated water line segment. The easement allows the city access to the water service line for public safety purposes. We're looking at adopting a resolution to begin the process of vacating the water main easement. A vacation petition may be initiated by the city council upon adoption of a resolution by a 4/5 majority. Resolution 18-47 calls for a public hearing on April 3rd, 2018 for council to consider this vacation. Yes, we still need to adopt the resolution calling for the public hearing on April 3rd.
Your Honor?
Councilmember Demmer?
A lot of process to move a pipe. All right, move to adopt resolution 18-47, which calls for a public hearing on April 3rd, 2018 for a vacation of a water main easement.
Second.
Motion by Demmer, second by Kicker. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. Item 16, consider resolution 18-48, amending the drug forfeiture budget and authorizing grant application for the United States Department of Justice. Chief Wise, what happened to our JAG money?
Yeah, Mayor, Council, just to refresh maybe the citizens at home, is last summer, the police department applied for a grant from the U.S. Department of Justice. And part of the grant application was we intended to apply the funds for the purchase of a Milo responding to resistance simulator or human interaction digital video simulating system. And we we were awarded that grant. Since that time, a federal court order has frozen the program, and we're having to explore other options to try to make this Milo system happen. In this case, the grant itself is for $11,000, with the overall system costing about $57,000. The $46,000 roughly was going to come from drug forfeiture account. Since that time, the drug forfeiture account can pay for the system in its entirety, so we are able to move ahead to purchase the Milo system without using that grant. And frankly, the Department of Justice can't tell us, they have no idea when this court order may be lifted, so we're impacted by that and we just have to move on. So I'm proposing that we use forfeiture funds to pay for the Milo system.
Excellent. Will that impact timing, or are we still going to be moving ahead with this?
We'd love to, if this is approved, we'll make the purchase and that we would have it up and running this spring. And like I said before, is that I'm hopeful the council will be able to find time to come and see the system work, because it's, I think it's really important that you see how the officers on the street are trained to interact with citizens, especially when there's resistance that's encountered, as we talk about both escalating the use of force and, more importantly, de-escalating the use of force. It's really important training.
Nice.
Your Honor.
Councilmember Johnson?
Move adoption of Resolution 18-48, amending the drug forfeiture budget for the purchase of the use of force simulator, and also authorize spending drug forfeiture funds for the purchase of a Milo use of force simulator for police officer training.
Second.
Motion by Johnson, second by Wells. Discussion?
Mayor?
Councilmember Griscoviac?
I was just wondering if we formally accepted those funds in the amount of $11,794, and if we did, do we have to formally undo it?
Councilmember Griscoviac, that's an excellent question, and frankly, I don't know the answer. So we make frequent calls to the Department of Justice. There's one grant administrator that works with the state of Minnesota, and we ask them, what do they want us to do? And their answer is we don't know. It's just, the program has just been frozen. So theoretically, what would happen is that they've approved the grant fund. If we're saying that we've moved on, is that I would imagine they would ask us to reapply, because they want to know what we intend to spend it on before they approve the granting of the money. So that would come presumably back to a public hearing in front of this body to discuss how that would potentially be spent, and then if the council approved, then we could put that on our grant application and wait for the Department of Justice to approve that. But they don't know. That's never happened before, so nobody can give us good advice.
So a follow-up question then, if it is unfrozen, could we take that fund and apply it back to this project?
We hope so, because with that, Councilmember Griscoviac, that's exactly the first question that would come to mind, is that we would like that to be used for exactly that purpose. That would be option A.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Wells, do you still
I
have a
just want to
question?
say this is a very appropriate and a great use of drug forfeiture monies.
All right. Any other discussion? No, I'm sorry, so you're thinking it'll be done by spring. Are we still thinking, and is this going into the building by Public Works?
Mr. Mayor, Council, that's correct, yes.
And
That's
is
what
there
it'll be.
still some thought of maybe having that building, part of it, open for the Public Works open house?
That would be great. I'd hate to muscle in on Mr. Himmer's, but it really, it's something that the citizens of this town should be very interested in seeing, and we'd love to demo it for the public, for sure.
Awesome. And can we bring can we suggest Mr. Stemwettle be a guinea pig or something, or?
That'd be
you know?
great, yeah. Nothing beats the boss being here.
Yeah, I'm not volunteering.
Yeah.
I'll give it a shot.
All right, if we have no more discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. And we are at the open mic portion of the meeting. And don't have any previous open mic. And other business. What do we have for other business?
Mayor,
Councilmember
can I
Griscoviac.
just ask Public Works and staff to give us an update on the Main Street Road update?
Excellent question, Councilmember Soviak. I just received an email today that it appears the structural component is complete. There's hope that it could be open prior to this weekend, but they're not going to promise me that. It's certainly ahead of, or right on schedule. They want to make sure they get it cleaned up, they get the snow removed, and it's in good shape. But it seems as if, certainly if not by this weekend, it will be early next week.
This is the temporary.
The westbound closure.
Right, but
yes.
this is the kind of patch to the problem.
That is correct, Councilmember Johnson.
Okay, thank you.
It's an impressive patch. I mean, it was a big chunk
Oh,
of
it's a
concrete
huge
they
deal, yeah.
poured out and,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and the website said first week of April, so I would consider this, ahead of schedule. Yeah.
You
Sooner
had
the
to
better.
ask. I didn't want to bring it up until it was done, and now you asked. Now I'm concerned.
Responsibility that's changed.
All right, other business to come before council? Mr. Stemwedel?
I'll just mention the North Suburban Home Show this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
At the Andover Community Center. Certainly that's a project that the city of Coon Rapids has participated in for a number of years. It's from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., March 10th. And basically, it's a lot of vendors, contractors, that sort of thing. If you're interested in doing improvements to your home, have projects, a lot of folks there you can talk to and get ideas, things like that.
My plan is to be there for the day, so. No, I'm good. I'm committed now, so.
Set it on TV.
Yeah. All right, any other business? Yes, Ms. Lensman?
Mayor, council members, a reminder that we have a concert this Thursday. It's Vinnie Rose, this community.
Which group?
Vinnie Rose. They're a
Vinnie
variety
Rose.
band.
Oh, okay. All right, very good. And tomorrow, I think a few of us are visiting the Capitol, visiting with our legislators tomorrow, with the League of Minnesota Cities or Metro Cities?
North Metro Mayors
North Metro Mayors. All right, very good. All right, any other business?
Motion to adjourn.
Yes. Motion by Kicker, second by Demmer to adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. We're adjourned.